WWE slams AEW for gory self-mutilation, and AEW's Conti responds in epic fashion. Backstage update on the contracts of the Street Profits. Bryan Danielson to wrestle for Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, and a whole bunch of your wrestling questions. Hello and welcome to the Solo Sunday News here at What Culture Wrestling with myself, Andrew Pollard. Yes, I am rocking it solo again this weekend. Last Sunday, of course, Mr. Andy Murray, Andy H. Murray, gave us some time to come and join me, which is all kind of cool. But I am back to rocking it on my lonesome this weekend. Although not on my lonesome, because I've got editor Ryan somewhere up here, and also I've got you guys watching. And if you're watching, be sure to like, subscribe, comment, all of that good stuff. And whatever you're doing with your Sunday, be sure it's a cool one. Whether you got something massive planned, whether you got nothing at all planned, just do it the best you can with your Sunday, and I hope you have a really, really, really cool one. But switching over to wrestling news rather than just great Sundays, and the first story we've got for you today is it does originate from the Toronto Star up in Canada, and the crux of the story is WWE has taken a shot at AEW, a questionable shot, and slammed AEW for its gory self-mutilation, specifically in relation to the New Year's Smash episode of AEW Rampage, which was Conti and Anna Jay taking on the Bunny and Penelope Ford in what was a bloody match, in particular for the Bunny and for Conti. The actual article itself in the Toronto Star was done to compare AEW to WWE in terms of programming up in Canada. The story says that for 2021, SmackDown on Sportsnet 360 averaged 155,000 viewers a week, in comparison to AEW Dynamite, which averaged 104,000 viewers a week. So basically, SmackDown was getting, across 2021, averaged 49% more viewers than AEW Dynamite. And as part of this article, because the key demo, though, which the key demo here is listed as 25 to 54. So while SmackDown was 49% ahead of Dynamite in terms of overall viewers, average viewers, which is a hefty number, the difference in the demo numbers, the key demo numbers here, was a lot smaller. So SmackDown has 71,000 viewers in this 25 to 54, whereas AEW had 62,000 viewers. And the report from the Toronto Star basically says that this is because AEW, it appeals to that audience because it's edgier. There's obviously more violence, there's more language, there's far too many, I can't really swear on this stream. So WWE, as part of this article, released a statement to the Toronto Star to say, if you look at the gory self-mutilation that bloodied several women in the December 31st event on TNT, it quickly becomes clear that these are very different businesses. We had an edgier product in the Attitude Era, and in a 2022 or 2022 world, we don't believe that type of dangerous and brutal display is appealing to network partners, sponsors, venues, children, or the general public as a whole. Hey, I'm the general public, and I'm cool with it. So, yeah, I can't speak for the rest of the names listed there. So, yeah, WWE is taking this sly shot to say about the gory self-mutilation, and basically WWE's above this kind of stuff now. Yeah, we did it 20 years ago, 24 years ago, whatever. But now, we're way beyond that. But then you see WWE sagging ratings from week to week to week to week over the past 3-4 years, and AEW taking steps to, they're not going to catch WWE anytime soon, but they're getting closer week to week it feels like anyway, especially in terms of momentum, even if we're not looking at ratings figures. But hey, this is all what it was, and as part of this, the fallout of it, Tony Khan actually did. He provided some comments for this article, but he didn't address the WWE remarks. Now, it may be a case of he'd not seen these at this point in time, but it certainly Conti did respond to this, as I'm sure editor Ryan is throwing a picture around somewhere now of Conti taking to Twitter with lots of ha-ha-ha-ha-has and a big bloody middle finger. So I guess we know what she thought of WWE's statements about gory self-mutilation. It was a good match. I know it might have been a little bit too much for some people, but I don't know. It's just WWE taking the moral high ground now, and that company, moral high ground. There's so much. I'm here on a Sunday to do some news, so I haven't got time to go into all of that. But moving quickly along to some WWE talent and to the Street Profits in particular. The Street Profits. Some people have been speculating lately that their WWE contracts may be up soon. Now, this is because it was announced in 2019 that Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins had signed multi-year deals through until 2021 or 2021. Now, that year has been and gone. So obviously there was some questions of, well, if their contract was through to the end of 2021, then what's the crack now? And Fightful Select, Sean WhatsApp over there, they have reported, they reached out to a WWE source who came back and said that, don't worry about it. The Street Profits, they've got plenty of time left on their deals. As For how long that plenty of time is, it's not been stated. But yeah, it seems like the Street Profits, for those wondering whether they may be leaving WWE soon, that they've plenty of time. But say, I don't know. You say that, it's like, okay, they have a contract for plenty of time. But yeah, the Profits, they've been together since 2016. Raw Tag Team Champions, SmackDown Tag Team Champions, NXT Tag Team Champions, Evolve Tag Team Champions. Yeah, they lost to RK Bro in an attempt to dethrone Randy Orton and Matt Riddle for the Raw Tag Team titles at WWE Day 1 at the turn of the year. And then since then, they have done stuff with the Dirty Dogs and Apollo and Commander Aziz, and I don't know. Me, I'm kind of, I'm yearning for that Street Profits heel turn, brother. Now over to Bryan Danielson. One of my favorite topics to ever talk about is Bryan Danielson. And it may well be that he could be set for a Pro Wrestling Guerrilla return. Now, this is a little bit speculative, should we say. Now, Dave Meltzer on the Wrestling Observer Radio, the latest edition of that, as of recording, has said, basically, he's alluded to Bryan wanting to work somewhere else, being able to work somewhere else, but it's just a case of AEW needs to run shows in that market first, so they have the appeal of like, well, we were the first company to bring Bryan here. As Meltzer put, Bryan, because he was talking first about Jon Moxley. Now, Moxley has been announced to return to the ring for GCW on, I think it's the 23rd of January, to defend the GCW World title against Homicide. And Meltzer was kind of talking about that and saying like, well, basically just throw it out there whether you want his in-ring return to be for AEW if he's contracted there, or if you're happy with him going elsewhere to GCW to make his return to action. Me, whatever makes Moxley happy, just hopefully the guy's well and he seems to be heading in the positive direction as shown by a return to the ring, and wherever he sees fit, let him go and do it. But yeah, what's Meltzer said from that, he followed on by going, Bryan Danielson, without going into detail, but some people will figure it out. There's an independent promotion, which I believe he wants to work for in a market that AEW is not run yet. And AEW is not against him working for promotion, but when they run that market, they want Bryan Danielson's first match in that market to be in AEW. Now, the immediate thoughts there go to PWG, to Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, as I stutter through my words for some reason. That's the caffeine kick. Yeah, now Danielson, he worked for PWG from, I think it's 2003, right the way through till 2010, before he went to WWE. He's a two-time PWG World Champion, so the guy's clearly got history there. The guy's loved by the PWG fans, by that fan base, the same fan base that loved it. But basically people who love energetic, technically sound wrestling with a few spots here and there, because there is very much a PWG style, which can be a bit Marmite with some fans. Of course, one other option that some people have said that this mystery promotion could be would be Defy Wrestling. Now, Defy Wrestling it's another one of those promotions, those indie promotions that always has a lot of buzz in recent years. And Danielson has never worked there, but that's mainly because Defy was founded in 2017, I believe it was, which is when Bryan Danielson, as Daniel Bryan, was under contract with WWE. So yeah, it looks like Bryan Danielson will get a chance to compete somewhere else, which I think, being honest, we all kind of thought he'd be wrestling somewhere, because we've all heard the interviews or read the interviews where Bryan's talked about how not so much this is like a last hurrah, but how he's as good as he's ever been, and he wants to wrestle in as many places against as many opponents as possible before he hangs up the boots, whenever that is. Hopefully that's not for a long, long time, because Bryan Danielson, one of the greatest to ever lace up a pair of boots. And so, yeah, there's that hope of like, yeah, maybe he does something with PWG, maybe he does something with Defy. Me, I'd love him in Ring of Honor. I'd like Ring of Honor. To me, it's like this Ring of Honor, there's like a super show there that writes itself as and when it comes back with like former stars. That's in the back of my mind. But I'd love to see Bryan in the NWA. Then there's New Japan Pro Wrestling. Noah's up and running. There's possibilities, and of course Impact Wrestling, which there's some really cool matches there, I think, in Impact. Josh Alexander, give me Bryan and Josh Alexander. Give me Bryan and Jonathan Gresham, the Ring of Honor World Champion, wherever that is. If that's with Terminus, if that's with Impact, if that's when ROH comes back, I don't know. But anyway, it looks like we're going to get Bryan in places other than AEW, and I'm totally here for that. Now, wrapping things up, because it's kind of a slowish Sunday, I'd say. Maybe not. Luckily, I can talk lots, and I have, like I said, lots of caffeine in my system. So there's a fair few questions here that I'm going to run through and try and get through them in timely fashion. Now, apologies. I know I do have a tendency to ramble at times, as you may have seen the past, 7, 8, 9, 10 minutes. But hopefully I can get through these bang, 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 bang. So the first question, these will come in on Twitter at WhatCultureWWE, and also directed at me at CultureLeftPeg. Aki Whitney or Aki Whitney is asked, Aki Whitney, that sounds painful, has asked who would win in a fight, Will Osprey or an actual Osprey? Now, an Osprey, not Will Osprey, the former IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. An actual Osprey is a bird that's a seahawk, a riverhawk, a fishhawk, and a quite gnarly little birds. Well, decent-sized birds. I say this like I have one just here that I can pick up and go like, yeah, they're about this big. Will Osprey, of course, one of the greatest wrestlers on the planet. To me, if I'm picking the winner here, brother, I'm going to go with draw. It's a Broadway. It's an hour Broadway. Unless, of course, the Osprey, the bird, goes into business for itself. Then who knows? Our next question, again, at What Culture WWE, from Ryan, asking who's winning the Rumble. It doesn't say which Rumble. I'm going to go with both Rumbles. There's in the men's and the women's. For the women's Royal Rumble this year, 2022, I'm going to go with Bianca Belair, setting her up with a rematch against Becky Lynch at WrestleMania 38, where she avenges her loss from SummerSlam last year in the, 26 seconds, was it? Yeah, I think that's what we get. That's what I'm going with. I'm going with to get to that match. I think we have Bianca win the Rumble, making her a two-time Royal Rumble winner, of course, because she won last year to set up a match with Sasha Banks at Mania 37. As for the men's Royal Rumble, I don't know. I have two trail of thoughts. One trail of thought is Big E to go after Bobby Lashley, because I think Bobby, to me, again, this is just purely speculation. I'm thinking Bobby Lashley beats Brock Lesnar at the Rumble to become WWE champion due to some sort of interference from Roman or the Usos or maybe Paul Heyman where something goes awry. And anyway, Bobby gets that belt, which then you go towards Brock going after Roman at WrestleMania 38 for the Universal title. So I think Bobby Lashley is going to have that title after the Rumble, the WWE title. And I think maybe Big E, but then, I don't know. It feels like they're ready to do something again with Seth. It just feels like he's been thereabouts for a while. So I don't know. I think Big E. I think to me, I'd like it to be Big E. To me, a little bit of redemption for Big E is you give him the big Rumble win, you have him go to Mania chasing the title, and maybe I'm win the title and get it back again. I don't know. But I think for me, that's one trail of thought. My other trail of thought, which I think could be kind of interesting and would piss a lot of people off, is you have the Brock Lesnar Bobby Lashley match early in the Rumble pay-per-view. Bobby Lashley gets the win by questionable means, probably down to Roman Reigns. And then Brock Lesnar just goes, screw this. I'm going in the Royal Rumble match. Beats up some no-name jabroni, takes his spot in the Rumble, goes through the Rumble, wins the Rumble, and then goes, yeah, Roman, I'm coming for you at WrestleMania. I want that title. That's something I'd kind of like to see, but I know that the internet would be ablaze with hate on that one, I'm sure. Next question, Matsuda. Do you think Austin will be a special enforcer for the main event of night 1 or 2 at WrestleMania? WrestleMania 38, of course, come up this year. Me? No, unless you mean in the... Hold on. I'm trying to work out where's... Oh, this is the main... It's in Dallas, isn't it? Jesus, man. I'm so off on this one. I think that Austin, obviously, we know he's going to be there. And I think that... I don't know. I don't think you'd have him as an enforcer in the women's match, because I think that kind of... maybe it's I think that degrades the match a little bit by these women are going to get out of control. We need some bionic redneck to control them. I don't think you need that in there. I think that's a bad look. I don't think it's needed. And I think in this case, if it was Bianca and Becky, I think they tear it up on their own. You don't need that outside shenanigans of a special enforcer. If it was, say, Brock and Roman, again, it's hard to have Steve Austin involved in a way like that, and not in any sort of way, and have him not take away from the wrestlers themselves. And I think even if it's Brock and Roman, who are these big burly guys who they hate each other, this rivalry's gone on technically for years and years in various guises, and now we've got the tribal chief, and we've got top knot Brock. So they're very different to what they were in recent years. I don't know if you need Austin there at some point, but I think you need to do something with Austin. But maybe it's a segment like we got at Mania 30, where you have something like that where he comes out to the ring, and I don't know. You need to do something with Stone Cold Steve Austin in a meaningful way, but something that doesn't overshadow the talent themselves of today. So it is a tricky one for them to balance. Daniel Legacy. Since AEW has done so well with Sting, if he was completely medically cleared, would you want to see a Bret Hart run in AEW? And what AEW wrestler would you pair him with? If Bret Hart was magically cleared to wrestle, I would want to see Bret Hart wrestle all day, every day. That goes without saying. It's never going to happen. It's sadly... a career, even though we had a really long, lengthy, legendary career, Bret's career was still cut short to what it could have been. I had the pleasure of speaking to Bret a couple of weeks ago, the end of last year at Wales Comic Con, to host a panel with him, which was I can die tomorrow as a happy man. That's it. That's live streams done. And that came up, and he talked about how his plan was to carry on wrestling until his 50s. and he talks about all these people he would have loved to wrestle: Bryan Danielson, CM Punk, Kurt Angle, obviously, John Cena, Rey Mysterio. All these names come up as people he would have liked to have worked with or loved to have worked with. But it's hard to look at this and give it a genuine answer because he's never going to be medically cleared to wrestle. It's never going to happen. But if magically he was and he could get a run in AEW, who would I want to see him paired with? I'd love to see him paired with CM Punk, but as in like a pair, as in not a tag team, but just like kind of together in a way, not like together joined at the hip, but like, I just like, I feel like I'm going around. I sound like a politician there, of like, but no, I'd love to see him paired with CM Punk in a way where it's like they just help each other out a little bit, but not like a tag team, not like Darby and Sting, but just like, I don't know, when things kick off, those are two of the guys fighting the good fight. Whether it's, I don't know, say the Elite explodes and takes over AEW, or the Inner Circle turns heel again and tries to take over AEW, then you have like Bret and CM Punk as somebody to stand up to that. I'm cool with that. But I'd also love to see him against CM Punk, but Bryan Danielson, that's the one, man. If you're going to put him against anybody, it'd be Bryan Danielson. But then in an ideal world, my mind also goes to, if Bret was fit and healthy, then him against just super heel, super aggressive Miro. That's a story I would love to see. That's something that we've seen time and time again over the years in professional wrestling, of the classic babyface against the monster heel, and it's worked so well. And I think Bret would get the best out of Miro. I think Miro would bring a lot to the table, and that'd be something that I'd be very, very cool to see, very, very happy to see. And Daniel Garcia is another one as well. And then you got like, there is like, it's great, but it's almost depressing when you think of how many great matches there could be, but you know that they're never going to happen. So, to hell with it. Johnny Wrestling, favorite Bret Hart match. And Johnny's is the match against Owen Hart at WrestleMania 10, the greatest opening match in WrestleMania history. Hands down. My favorite Bret Hart match, man, this is a tough one. I would probably go with, this is like a too much of a Bret Hart loving for some, but hey, it's my solo Sunday news this morning, so I'm cool with Bret Hart loving. I'll go personally, I'd always go with the King of the Ring 1993, the match against Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig. Just because of, if you include the promo as well before that, the pre-match promo, when they're talking about that, just the back and forth, and they're both baby faces, and then it comes into like, my dad's harder than your dad, my dad is harder, your dad would never beat my dad, oh my dad, and then Mr. Perfect turns around with the old I still owe you from SummerSlam Hart, referring to SummerSlam 1991 where Bret Hart beat Perfect to win the Intercontinental title, and then Perfect storms off to the ring, and they have this great kind of angsty babyface match where Kurt Hennig has like slightly heelish tendencies, where he's a bit more aggressive in things. He takes a few shortcuts along the way, and then Bret gets the win eventually, and then Mr. Perfect comes into the ring, and it's all like, oh, is he going to kick off? That's it, and it's just a big handshake and like, go and win the whole thing, son. Quick last question, because I've waffled loads about Bret Hart, so apologies for the Shawn Michael lovers out there. From Riley. This is an odd question, but do you think, I like odd questions, this is an odd question, but do you think Daniel Bryan will be in the Royal Rumble? My theory is, because to my knowledge, he's never worn his own AEW merch, and I feel that might be a reason why he could so quickly return for a Rumble appearance. Thoughts? Riley? I'd love to back you up, but I don't think that is ever going to happen in that guise. I don't think it's the case of Bryan Danielson going, I've not got any merchandise, I'm spitting my dummy, I'm somehow getting out of my contract and I'm going back to WWE to be in the Royal Rumble. Unfortunately, my friend. I think it's just part of the act. He's a very, in terms of that character, he's not a gimmick, he's just a plain, basic, in the best possible term, wrestler who is there to kick people's heads in. He doesn't need flashy merchandise. He doesn't need t-shirts. It's that, and especially as a heel, it's like, I don't want to market myself. I don't want you to buy my t-shirts. I don't want to see you wearing it. It's like when, the old school heels used to do, and like Jericho did when he went onto his suit wearing the best in the world of what I do, calling people troglodytes, wearing a suit, and it was just, he didn't have merch. He didn't want merch, because that's, again, people can get behind you if they wear your t-shirt. Right now I'm behind Diego Maradona because I've got this on. But if you don't have a t-shirt, people can't get behind you in that way. It takes away one element of being able for heels to be cheered when they don't want to be cheered. And so, yeah, I think that's why Bryan Danielson does not have merchandise. I do not see him being in the Royal Rumble, unfortunately, Riley, but thank you for your question. And thank you for tuning in this morning on this Solo Sunday News. Oh, this has been a long one. Apologies to Ryan, editor Ryan. Apologies, my brother. Apologies to you. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, whatever you're doing with your Sunday. Have a great day. Be sure to come and follow us at What Cultured WWE. Follow me at Cultured Left Peg if you really, really want. Have a great Sunday, and I will see you soon.